Welcome back, guys, for another series of Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition for you today. This is the second casted series of the ESOC Goodhouse Cup, a charity event raising funds for Hunkpapa Elder Cedric Goodhouse, who gave a lot of time and input into developing the game and redeveloping the natives of Age of Empires 3. And we're trying to raise some money for himself to pay for some medical bills that he needs being paid for in the near future. This is the second series of the round of 8. It is Mitoe versus Kaiserklein. And you may be thinking, Mitoe, Kaiserklein? Surely this is a high-ticket final, potential final lineup. However, Mitoe hasn't been playing a lot of games on DE, and this tournament was seeded by ELO from players from the 1v1 ladder. Mitoe sitting around about 1750, 1800 ELO. Kaiserklein stonking 2k plus points. That means that Kaiserklein was seeded 3rd, Mitoe seeded 5th or 2nd and 6th. And that is why these two giants are meeting in combat in the round of 8. Our first game for you is on Florida. Kaiserklein playing as the French civilization, as you would expect from Kaiserklein, in the colour blue. Mitoe will be playing in the colour teal, playing as the British, going for an early TP. Both players dropping down TPs in the back of their base. Kaiser could have gone for the forward TP for the earlier experience pass, as we've seen in the first game. So, slight optimization Kaiserklein could pull for next time he plays this map, but all things considered, very minor. First shipment, likely 3 CDBs, and has picked up a treasure already. So, quite nice start so far. But, time out, boys. Time out. No house being dropped, no wood being chopped. No coin being chopped as well for hunting dogs. He's moving sheep into position to be killed and gathered. Kaiserklein is going to go for a 12-10 here. So 12-10 from Kaiserklein. Somewhat of a new meta for French in the Definitive Edition due to their very strong fixed crates and early age 1 eco. Kaiser is working on he's working on the 75 wood treasure. Both his explorers have taken a little bit of a rest. You know, they don't have to be continuously working. Crackshotted 1 alligator. I think Kaiser's going to go in for the second. Maybe waiting around. Oh, looks like he kited the first alligator and then going for the second crack shot. 75 wood, and that will get his market or a house down transition. Kaiserklein, he's already aging. This is so fast from the French player. And that TP as well should ensure that Kaiserklein has a shipment ready to go as soon as he ages up, which is why the 12-10 play from Kaiser is a really strong play from French players at the moment. Meanwhile, on the other side of the pond, or other side of the Florida, should we say, Mitoe is aging up now. Let's see what Mitoe's aging up with. He's aging up with the Philosopher Prince. His first card was 3-vil. He does have a TP thrown down, but I think he's only got 1 pass experience points from it. Has another shipment to send just about now. Is he going to go for Virginia Company? Let us see. Yes, he is going to go for Virginia Company. And the 500 food on the age up here for Mitoe will fund villager production, while the majority of his eco is on the wood. Chopping the wood needed to throw down many manor houses, and manor houses means many extra villagers for the British player, just further boosting that incredible economy that the British Civ can get in that early to mid-game. Mitoe sacrificing himself to 2 alligators, ensuring that Mother Nature gets the experience points instead of Kaiser. You know, at this level, what can I say? Trying to ensure that your opponent doesn't get the experience points is always a nice play at this point. Kaiser picking off 2 alligators. That's 20 experience points himself, but now a 100 XP treasure. Yeah, that is a lot of experience points, and we can see from Kaiser's point of view, he's sent his first shipment already. He's sending 700 wood, but he's nearly ready to send a second shipment in the second age, so really fast. Forward barracks being thrown down by Kaiserklein as well, and I don't think Mitoe scouted this. This explorer went down before the barracks was built. So a French barracks has basically already been built just as Mitoe reaches that second age. So unless Mitoe explicitly knows what's coming in from Kaiser, he's going to have to deal with the element of surprise here. Dropping down a barracks from 2 vills is very good anticipation play. Is he going to see it? He's going to revive his explorer, and I think Mitoe's going to scout it now. Yes, he does. Double racks play from Kaiser. Mitoe does scout the first shipment here is crossbows, so Mitoe will be aware that Kaiserklein's first shipment was 700 wood, and we'll be expecting more bow pike units here from Kaiserklein. Let's see Kaiserklein's perspective. He's sending 600 wood now, so he's just going to go bow pike rush the British player's VC boom, and I think Mitoe's thinking, oh, how am I going to deal with this? I've invested into an eco play at the moment, and I don't have the units really to defend at the moment. Training longbows behind this instead of musketeers. I do like that play, trying to pick off these units from range. Crossbows, they do have multipliers versus musketeers. Not a great multiplier, but you know, every little helps, and the crossbowmen do have a larger range than musketeers, so you know, Kaiser's excellent micro will be able to pick off those musketeers, but Mitoe replying with longbows. He's already seen this massive crossbow coming in. He's only got 5 longbow at the moment. He needs to train another batch of 5 and maybe send 6 musketeers, possibly Minutemen from the town centre. This is a large mass from Kaiser already in this game, and Mitoe's running, and his villagers are running as well. He hasn't even got 10 vills in the town centre dealing damage to the crossbows, but it looks like he's got the optimum amount of villagers to 2-shot kill a crossbow, and that just says a lot about Mitoe's experience there. French explorer gets in the snare off onto the longbow, and you can see Mitoe's just dropping longbowmen one at a time because he knows that he can't let the group get snared, otherwise they're dead. And actually, yeah, longbows, they can't kite, they have a setup animation, and Kaiser knows this, he's exploiting it, he's just chasing these units down, and actually, Mitoe's trained 5 longbow, but he actually hasn't picked off a single unit with them. This is, oh, another unit gone down to crossbows, and another. And the crossbow is only taking like 1 shot. Minutemen do come out. Minutemen in range of crossbows. This is going to get a decent trade. But Kaiser can just back at this point. He doesn't need to take on his units. They do lose HP over time. 3 Hussars from Kaiser. Has Kaiser gone 700 wood, 600 wood? 3 Hussars he has. This is just going to counter the longbow play as well. This is a great timing here from Kaiserklein. And this is just going from bad to worse for Mitoe. I mean, I'm trying to put this in a very polite way as well. Like, what do? You've got all your eco exposed. You've just lost all your military. Got no more Minutemen. And Kaiser still has a massive crossbow alive. This is, I mean, very well played from Kaiser. Just a very well designed strat with 12-10 into bow pike rush with 3 Hussars to clean up. Kaiser should know that there's only 10 or maybe 12 max villagers in the town centre from Mitoe. He should know that there's villagers out and about. The only thing Kaiser needs to decide is which way to run with his units. So he's just going to chase these longbows. Another batch of longbows getting snared by the explorer. Kaiser's explorer micro here has been absolutely exquisite. He hasn't lost it yet. It provides so much value. You know, those 2 longbows were dead because they got snared and they can't get away. These longbows, if they want to fight, they have to stand still and fire, and that has led the longbows just to momentarily stop running in their tracks and allows the crossbows to close up. But Kaiser could just turn his attention onto the eco and just really put the pain on Mitoe. Quite a few idols here for quite a while here for Mitoe. Brook G liking my description of the exquisite micro. Well, I've got to say, so far Kaiser's play has been rather impeccable. How about that for a word? I'm not even being funny at this point. I don't actually know if a single longbow unit from Mitoe has picked off a crossbow. I think only the Minutemen and town centre fires have picked off crossbow units at the moment. The longbows. Yeah, on mass, longbows work well, but just exploiting how longbows, they really can't kite. It's a big weakness of them. And longbows as well, they're not great versus heavy infantry units, so it's quite often why we see British players opening up with musketeers all this time, but I suppose versus like a bow pike play from Kaiser, Mitoe was caught in between a rock and a hard place. Didn't know which unit to go for, and maybe rolled the dice and got the wrong unit choice here. Kaiserklein transitioned into musketeers now. He has funded this change on the 4 CDB shipments, so Kaiser has got 26 CDBs at the moment. Mitoe's 34 villagers, but with 9 idols. Quite a lot of his eco hasn't been gathering at this moment, having to send 6 longbows, 6 musketeers just to shore up his defences at the moment, and just really curtailing that Virginia Company boom, only getting the 700 wood, but having to spend a lot of that wood onto longbowman production. Mitoe only at 110 mana population. It is not really where he wanted to be at 9 minutes in the game. Some musketeers away from the combat. Batch of 4 hussars from Kaiser. Gone for stable play as well. Pikemen sieging down the houses. A lot of XP if he manages to pick one off. 81 per house. I want to say he's just keeping his musketeers back in reserve before he gets a big batch of units to join forces with, and just try to minimise casualties with the musketeers and maximise the use of the crossbowmen before changing into a complete Musk-Huss based composition. Kaiserklein's Ignited Scout once again providing so much information for where and when to strike in with his military. Right, now we've got a decent mass of longbows from Mitoe. You can see how they can stand and fire now, but they're still running in between the town centre and manor house in for, trying to cause some pathing issues. Kaiserklein can see that. He's backing off with his hussars at the moment. Yeah, longbows can pick off 1 hussar, 1 crossbow, and will pick up a 2nd crossbow on the retreat. This is where the longbows excel. Just that early combat, they just didn't really work for Kaiser. Picked off a couple more houses. Another experience. Another shipment available for the French civilization. Can send 8 bows, 600 coin if he likes, but I did see the cheeky age up there. Age up with the exiled prince. If Mitoe thinks he's under pressure now, well, he's got to deal with falconets, cuirassiers and skirmishers very soon. Not too sure how Mitoe deals with that. We'll have to find out. Second rank's being dropped here from Mitoe. He doesn't have 80 vill population. He has 120 mana population, 44 villagers. So he's managed to keep his villagers alive though. So although before early in the game things were looking rather dicey for Mitoe, a lot of idle time, a lot of longbows being picked up, he's actually managed to protect his eco somewhat and has a lot of villagers gathering, steel traps, placer mines, great coats. He has a lot of the market techs down. Doesn't need to make any more manor houses at this moment. He's already got enough eco to suffice him for the time being. Sent in the 700 coin, looking to age up. But the problem is the British Civ, as said before in the previous series, they do not have access to the fast age up, and the 700 coin is not even in yet, so he's not queued up to the Fortress Age. Kaiser is in the Fortress Age. He's been there for quite a while. Veteran musketeers, and more musketeers being produced, 2 falconets, and I have a feeling that his second shipment will be the 3 cuirassiers. So that's what I'm getting the feeling here from Kaiser. Going to go for the classic musketeer, falconet, cuirassier play, and it's just going to get up and close and personal to Mitoe. He's got units which can't kite very well, so doesn't really need the skirm goon composition to try and pick these units off from range. And it's going to be a while before Mitoe gets to the second age. I don't even think Mitoe even gets to the third age. Kaiserklein is coming in at the moment. Veteran musketeers, the falconets are here already.
Ready.
Mitoe, you just need to run. Buy time however you can. Build a wall, maybe lose a couple of vills, do whatever you can, but you need to buy time and not take this engagement until you at least have vet musket, vet bow, and your first shipment of 2 falconets, because I just don't see how you win in this one. First falconet volley coming in, 1 longbow being picked up, a couple of longbow losing a lot of HP there. They're just taking a falconet shot quite nicely, but look at the splash damage already. 4 longbow being picked off just from falconets, but a lot of HP being lost as well. And Kaiser hasn't even fully connected with his army, just making the most of those falconets from range. Let's look at Kaiser's position. What's next? Yes, 3 Cuirassiers coming in, as well as 1 Cuirassier being trained. Does have resources for another 4. He needs the population space. Maybe delete some pikemen, in all honesty, to get the full batch out. Okay, he's lost a couple units and got another house down. There's the full 5 batch coming in at this point. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 heavy cavalry here from France. That's going to be lights out here for Mitoe. This is going to be a very, very tough hold here from Mitoe. Still in the second age, getting close to that age up. About 70% there. Age of the Adventurer, so longbows on the age up. But Mitoe knows that he can't just fully back his army away, otherwise those age up longbows will get picked off for free and he will lose a lot of HP on that. Town centre, big volley on that falconer onto the longbows. 3 went down there, another 2 there. Musketeers picking off a 3rd. So many longbows already going down, and the heavy cavalry is here for Mitoe. Mitoe's not just about to get to the next stage, but doesn't have upgraded units. I suppose if Kaiser wants to engage with the cavalry, he needs to engage in one massive bundle, and I think here we go. This is the time. 7 Cuirassiers incoming, a big bundle of longbows. Where are the falconets? The falconets were picked off from the town centre and the longbows. Looks like those falconets have gone down. Mitoe sending 9 musketeers. Card number 1 here. Might want to try and get veteran musketeers as well. Blocking the Cuirassiers very well, actually. He's only got about 4 Cuirassiers still standing. Longbows been focusing down the heavy cavalry, but the musks and the bows have been picked off from many, many villages and units. 18 idle villas, down to 36 villagers as well. Longbowmen, colonial, musketeers as well, so I haven't got the upgrades in. Couldn't afford the wood for the upgrades, but veteran musketeers happily taking this trade. And okay, on the 9 musketeer, Kaiser may back out and remass, may transition into skirmishers. Next shipment from Kaiser, 2 falconets, but with 20 idle vills, Mitoe's got to do something soon and reorganise his eco, otherwise he's just going to fall really far behind in this game. Where Kaiser, 37 CDB, all of them happily working at the moment. Amalgamation as well. Kaiser's eco is on fire. Transition into Skirm Cuirassier. A fine transition. And he's going to pick these units from range. And still have enough heavy cavalry to slam in onto the falconets afterwards.
Correct.
You know, there's never a point where Kaiser is not microing. He's always doing something at any point in the game. Whether he's behind or ahead, he's always doing something. And Kaiser has seen that he's got a free 90 coin nearby to pick up. And that's going to fund some extra heavy cavalry there. But here we go. 7 Cuirassiers engaging with the Colonial Musketeers. Not upgraded just yet. Has Mitoe got an upgrade in? Upgrade is nearly there. He's taking the fight before the upgrade's in. Cuirassiers being split in 2 different paths. Soaking damage from range, but trying to juke the musketeers and go around the outside. Engagement with the falconet. Falconets are packing up. They're trying to retreat in the normal mode, but actually going into back into combat mode. All the Cuirassiers going down, but we've only 1 falconet remaining. The actual power behind the falconet is really gone. You need both alive. The second falconet's gone, and now with no siege, just those infantry, we're going to forward straight away to heavy cavalry and recorded game's finished. Mitoe's tapped out and Kaiserklein has picked up game number 1 in Florida. That there is the 12-10 bow pike rush against British, and I thought that's a very smart strategy to counter a Virginia company playstyle. I think the thing is, Kaiser knew what Mitoe was doing from the get-go. And the reason why Kaiser knew what Mitoe was doing, he could see it top right. There you go. I have built a trading post. And if you're the British player and you're building a trading post, that really does signify that you're going to go into a Virginia company type of play. 3 vills, VC. A lot of investment early on. Big payoff. And Kaiser thought, on a 12-10, I'm not really sacrificing much eco, but I can put the pressure on you and punish you for your greedy playstyle. And yeah, Kaiser used the map to his advantage with the market in transition, sheep to help him with the age up as well. Yeah, French 12-10 on Florida. Very strong and looks to be the new meta. So, yeah, Mitoe had a better eco in terms of number of villagers. It doesn't include the fact that Kaiser's villages are CDB, so they gather a lot more resources per vill. But if we look at the idle villagers, I think that will tell us the story of how many idols Mitoe had during that game when he was trying his best to hold on in the face of the French army there. And significant periods of time, Mitoe had more than 10 vills idled, and Kaiser had a few idols, and these do include villagers walking from one resource to another, but always being sorted out as problems arise. But Mitoe just continuous idle under the pressure from the French army, and at one point having 35 idle villagers, and that was when he was dealing with that massive push in from France with their initial falconets, Gracière, Vet Musk timing. And I think at that point, Mitoe traded off a lot of villagers. Yeah, traded off a lot of villagers just to try and hold on and survive. He did survive, but in the long game, he was basically dead at that point because he just didn't have the eco to back it up. Kaiser traded all right with the military, but the follow-up was just a little bit too much for Mitoe to deal with, and yet the game was done and dusted at that point. Right, let's open it. Go into game 2. Open up the next recorded game from my list of recorded games. Kaiserklein versus Mitoe number 2. Question mark. Saved game. Kaiser versus Mitoe. Failed to load. What about the third one?
Yeah.
Hold up, I need to reload, see if I can get the second recorded game again, because it's not actually loading into the game. So I'll leave you on the overlay for the time being. Let's need to try and find the second game to see if I can get it started up. So I'll be right back with you guys. Right, guys, we are back. I have got the recording at hand. I was able to find it. So let's load into game number 2. This is Kaiserklein taking on Mitoe, part of the round of 8 of the ESOC Goodhouse Cup. We are spawning into ESOC Pampas Sierras. We have Kaiserklein, who won the first game as the French, is now picking the Russians on this 0TP map. Don't often see much Russia played currently in the Definitive Edition meta. Russia considered to be quite weak in the 1v1 tier listings. So let's see how Kaiserklein can use the Russians in this game to his advantage. His opponent is going to be Mitoe. Let's look at Mitoe. And Mitoe's playing as Spain? Why is Mitoe playing as Spain on Pampas Sierras? Maybe Mitoe was able to look at the Civ that Kaiser picked him for. Actually, I've got a great plan as Spain to counter what Russia's going to do, and we're going to see how Mitoe will play around that. Ooh. Let me just quickly turn up the sound of in-game just a little bit. Seems a little quiet in my ear, but that's okay. Right, here we go. Kaiserklein picking up 2 llamas to the left-hand side of the map already, not knowing exactly where to go, and Mitoe's going to the right side without a dog in support. Maybe Mitoe's thinking, right, I'm going to leave my dog on the left-hand side, gather up the yaks with my fast, speedy units, and at that point, try and capture all the llamas I can while I'm getting these great treasures on the right-hand side, where Kaiserklein will not be near me to contest. That's going to be the plan from Mitoe, it seems. And he's going to work his way on a 90 food treasure already. I believe that was guarded by 3 wolves. Early crack shot in, kiting 1. Might move back out to reset the wolves and kites that. And pick up a nice 90 food just to help speed up the age up. Oh, the shot didn't come off there, but he's actually going to re-micro that. The dog from Mitoe is trying to pick off some of the llamas on Kaiser's side of the map, but Kaiser being very careful with his llama control. His explorer is leading the llama train home to Russia so that they can all end up as tasty, tasty food for the Russian civilization here. And as well, there's a 6th as well. Kaiser leads in the livestock war, well, currently 6-0, but I'm sure Mitoe will pick these 2 off at some point in the near future. Let's look at the Spanish home city. What plan has Mitoe got in store? Possible age 2 options. Does have double hand cavalry units at the moment. Does have double rods, double lancers, and quadruple cav upgrades. Maybe Kaiser's thinking about going into some hand cavalry at the moment. Right, let's just see what else is going on. Kaiserklein now moving down to the eastern side of the map. He didn't realise where Mitoe's explorer was to pick up that treasure. I'm sure he could assume that Mitoe was either in the middle or the right-hand side. And let's see what other treasures that Mitoe could have picked up. Armour of Arkansas, the hero from the Asian mythology game, 40% HP. I don't think either of the European explorers are too interested in that. But 75 food by 2 wolves, that's a lovely treasure for Kaiser to pick up if he sees it. I don't think he's quite seen it. He's seen it now. He's seen it now. I think he's just seen if there's anything nearby, but yeah, he's going back for that treasure. That's going to help that early batch of 3 villagers, 5 musketeers, or 10 strelets likely to be coming out from Kaiserklein. We see 2 villagers moving across the map here from Kaiser to drop a mid-map blockhouse, it seems. Usually we do see 3. I'm a bit of a fan of 2. And actually, essentially, it probably doesn't matter which of the 2 you do choose to send. The important point here is I don't believe that Mitoe is actually going to be contesting that. He hasn't scouted it and is in no rush to send Minutemen across the map himself. Finally picking up his 2 llamas. Hey, he picks up 2 cows as well. Hashtag praise Azank. 2 cows have been released from Mitoe. Mitoe has aged up to the second age.
See?
Outpost wagon being dropped very, very defensively. That is one of the most defensive outposts I've seen. Somewhat blocking access to the coin mine. However, outpost is a garrisonable building, so if Mitoe really wants to, he can teleport villagers from the town centre to the outpost and onto the mine, and vice versa if pressure comes in. But the setting of this game has already been set, it seems. Kaiserklein dropping a mid-map blockhouse with 2 villagers. Mitoe sends in 700 coin and 700 wood, wanting to go for the Spanish FF on a 0 TP map. Dropping down the church for the XP income as well. It's not as good as a training post, but it will do when no other options exist. Coin coming in, and Mitoe will be soon clicking up. Oh, what's this playstyle from Kaiser? Kaiser dropping a mid-map blockhouse, maybe feigning some sort of aggression, but a double blockhouse here suggests that he will be going aggressive. The 700 coin behind this maybe a very good way to spam production of musketeers from 2 blockhouses. And I want to say this is a build order that I'm Turk was a big fan of. 700 coin first and just make musketeer, musketeer, musketeers and more musketeers. Does have the market down. These villagers already having their steel traps, so having all villagers gathering food very efficiently and having your coin income coming from crates is a very, very efficient way to get your resources. And yeah, Cossacks coming in. I think Kaiserklein is going to go for the timing push for this game. I've had somebody at the bottom say, what are these numbers? The 17 refers to the number of villagers that Kaiserklein has. He's got 3 villas in queue. Currently got 10 military population out on the field. 5 military population in queue from the 5 musks. 5 units coming in from a shipment. So we see 20 villas, 10 musk, 5 musk coming in, 5 from the Cossack. And that's a feature from A's UI that allows me, if I needed to see population numbers of, you know, what size of each army, each player's army. And if we go to Kaiserklein, well, we see he's got 17 villas, 1 in queue, 5 villas coming in, but a big fat 0 next to military counts. Mitoe has 0 military. He's aging up. Is he going to try and go for a church FF? He doesn't have a church card in his deck, so know how it is. This game probably going to go straight into lance production. 1 dog being picked off already. I just clicked the flag there. That's my mistake. Sending Rodaleros now. He realises he's under pressure. The time push has come in from Kaiserklein. He's aging up. He's aging up with the scouts, so 4 hussars on the age up. 13 villagers already in that town centre. And Kaiserklein, I think as soon as he's moved in, he's going to be moving back out again. I don't think he really wants to be sieging the outpost. You don't have enough to be taking down buildings at the moment, but the idle time has worked really well. And Kaiserklein still spamming musketeers galore. 4 Cossacks is his next card. And we see from Kaiser's point of view as well that he has 26 military population on the field, 5 being trained, 4 incoming, and the population is just getting larger and larger for Kaiser. Yeah, Mitoe's into the next stage, but it's all on Mitoe here to have some really good unit control on micro. I think in terms of how easy the position is, it's easier for Mitoe to, for Kaiser to control his Cossacks and Musketeers. Mito's going to be careful of like, oh, if I send Falcons, I need to protect them. If I send Lances, I need to get the most value and not fight Cossacks. We've got Hussars and Rodaleros running away because they don't want to engage without any support of dogs or Minutemen or unit shipments. And Mito's entire eco is now bailed up. Got all the villagers bar 10 on the coin mine. He's got enough resources for Minutemen if he wants to call it. Rodler is just teasing the Cossacks, asking them to come a little bit closer to Mito's town centre, but I think Kaiser is aware of that and is not going to fall for that trick so easily. Couple Cossacks onto the top side, seeing if any of Mito's vills were hunting on this double hunt to the left-hand side of Mito's base. But because we're playing DE, you have to be very careful. These hunts, they move so fast. Where is Mitoe hunting his food after these 3 Guanacos get eaten? Mitoe will have to fight for this hunt away from his outpost and town centre, and that's going to be tough for Mitoe. has now sent 5 lancers, training 5 more rods, going for the rod lancer composition, but Kaiser's just massing musketeers, not even tempted to make any strelets, just going pure musketeer Cossack, now sending 700 wood for housing, probably a stable as well. It looks like Kaiser's eating quite a few of those llamas, but just saving a few in reserve. I'm sure Kaiser is still on the strategy of massing up musketeers. Gonna push in. Happy to take a bit of outpost and town centre fire. That doesn't phase him. Just wants to scout around and see what he can find. Okay, Lancers Rodelleros to the south side. Kaiser backing off before that engagement. He's not going to engage on Rodellero's head first. That would be suicide without the support of his musketeers. Yeah, and the game is just going to continue on for that little bit longer. Bit of an interesting matchup this is, because this is a matchup that Mitoe decided to pick. Kaiser did go for Russia first pick, and Mitoe has counter-picked with Spain. He's deleted the war segment, the Falconets on the field. Mitoe's second shipment here, double Falconets, pushing out with the 5 Lancers, as well as quite a lot of Rodelleros, but they're still colonial, no upgrades incoming for these units. Mitoe just doesn't have the eco to support any upgrades. Okay, beg your pardon. That Rodelleros is incoming, but they're not in just yet. Falconets have unpacked, trying to go for the slow push on the double blockhouse, but actually this is just buying Kaiser so much time. I think Kaiser would be quite happy to see his position. He just sees what he's dealing with. Probably doesn't see too many Rodelleros here. Dropping the stable in retaliation, produce more Cossacks. Cossacks right flank coming in. Musketeers stagger mode immediately. Actually, he knows that no, just stagger mode range, pardon me. But he knows the cavalry coming in the first wave. A couple musketeers being packed around the side. Notice how Kaiserklein's not controlling all his musketeers. He's only controlling just a subset to get that optimal micro. Falconets under pressure. Rodelleros have been pulled back to try and defend. 1 Falconet down, double Falconet down, and more musketeers are being trained behind this. The spam continues. Mitoe has lost his main power in the Third Age, losing the 5 Lancer and the 2 Falconet shipments. And Kaiserklein is just happy to trade. He wants to trade. He wants to keep taking these little fights, because Russian eco at this moment is better than Mitoe's. Four Lancers starting to transition into skirmishers at the moment. So Mitoe is adapting to the position he sees himself. He's got quite a lot of these veteran Rodelleros, so I'm expecting after 4 Lancers to be seeing 9 Rodelleros as the card afterwards. But let's see what Kaiser's up to. Kaiser sending 13 Strelets, training more Cossacks, training more more Musketeers. Doesn't have Boyars in at the moment. Quick check of his deck. Has it available, but he's thinking, I don't need to send Boyars just yet because I'm not spamming Strelets and too many Cossacks. He's still mainly focusing on that Musketeer, but now that he's going into a couple of Cossacks being produced from the stable, yeah, this is a good time to send Boyars. It's not like he can send... He could send 600 coin, actually. That could be quite nice for massing more Musketeers. But I think the skirmishers walked into the line of sight of the blockhouse. And that's just giving Kaiserklein that valuable information that he may not need any more Musketeers and try and change his composition to deal with skirmishers, lancers. Mitoe commenting, so over, now you age and just GG. I think Mitoe realising too late or forgetting, it doesn't matter, that recorded games actually record messages sent between players. I don't know why that feature exists, but hey, it exists. Mitoe is showing his position of unease at the moment, and Kaiserklein is just capitalising on that, pushing in with more Musketeers, skirmishers, about 10 Cossacks. Like, if we look at Kaiserklein's army, 67 military population on the field, with a further 6 in queue. If we go to Mitoe, how many units has he got? He's got a 42 population, none in queue, is even pulling villagers already to the fight with no greatcoats. Rodellero's getting a great flank on the Cossacks. The Cossacks retreating. Strelets path into the right side, and now those Rodelleros are engaging with the heavy infantry and Strelets. They're dropping down quickly. The Cossacks are still alive, and these Cossacks are just moving around trying to chase these skirmishers. Skirmishers trying to stay alive as long as possible here. But the Strelets is still uncontested. Actually, all things considered, a decent fight for Mitoe. Like, Mitoe has stayed alive there. But Kaiserklein probably has a little wry smile on himself. He realises that was a decent trade, and trading is the name of the game for Russia. You have very cost-efficient units. If you keep trading, eventually you will overpower your opponents. A couple of Rollers getting picked off by the Strelets there. So Kaiserklein's now sent his boyars and his unit shipments. I think his next shipment will be 600 coin, but actually looking at his hunting position, he may not have enough hunts to really optimally gather from. So I'm not surprised seeing that 700 food shipment instead of 600 coin. I think that's a good choice. He's realising quite a lot of villagers will have to walk very far if he wants to get onto the hunts. But now we've got Cossacks and Struts moving in onto the Rodolera's Lancers. Taking a few pot shots. Mitoe just losing a couple units without actually engaging. He's trying to poke off units with skirmishers with a slightly longer range than the Strelets have. But it's actually the Strelets move slightly faster than the skirmishers. But yeah, it's not. You don't get as much rewards trying to micro down Strelets as you do, let's say, skirmishers trying to micro down musketeers, for example. Cossacks checking that left flank of Mitoe to see where Mitoe's hunting. 4 villas on the left-hand side, and I forgot Mitoe pulled villagers. He's only got 24 remaining. 24 villagers, or now 25. Never sent villagers in his shipment progression. Had to go for the defensive 7 Rodoleros instead of 5 vills. 8 Rodoleros now being sent. No upgrades being sent yet for his army, but sending upgrades when you don't have much of an army now is always a bit of a bitter pill to swallow. I don't really know what Mitoe's next card will be. 1,000 wood? You're not going to send Smash Gold now. Probably sends... Cab Combat. If that's the best of the bad bunch at the moment. Skirmishers doing their best to try and pick off the colonial musketeers. But Kaiserklein is just going to be staying in this age, amassing even more. More units coming in. 64 military on the field, 11 arriving, another batch of 10 just going to the field. Micro and Strelets trying to pick off Rodoleros, trying to pick off the anti-cav before engagement with the Cossacks. But you know, in terms of hand combat between Cossacks and Strelets, Lancers 20, 350. These Cossacks, they're 29 hand attack. Yes, they have 90 less HP, but there's so many more Cossacks here. The Lancers, there's just not enough units to hold off the cavalry here, I feel, from Mitoe. And these Rodoleros are at risk of being picked off by the ever-growing mass of Strelets and Musketeers. Kaiserklein just showing a dominance of map control in this second game. Even Mitoe having to gather on the eastern side of the map. I don't think that's been scouted out yet by Kaiser. Or if he has, he hasn't paid attention to it. Okay, he's seen one dead animal. He's probably clicking on the animal and seen how fast that decay is, and realises that more than one unit's there. And here comes a very, very smart raid here from Kaiserklein. Engagement's coming in though. Mitoe realises he just needs to go. He can't last any longer. He's going to go. But actually, this army is just going to get swallowed up. Just honestly swallowed up. There's too much stuff here from Kaiserklein. Underneath 2 blockhouses as well, and near the production facilities. And I'm sure at the end of the game is here. A nice smart raid as well. We'll just add salt to that wound. And yeah, the GG's been called. And Kaiser taking the second game out of the best of 5. Quick look at the post game. I'm sure we're just going to see an ever-growing military graph from Kaiserklein. Military unit population taking some real smart fights. The first fight was actually went decently well for Mitoe. At that point, I'd say that the position was slightly Russian favoured, but all things considered, relatively balanced. It was quite hard to play this game when you're down a 6-2 llama advantage early on, and Kaiser going for the 700 coin musketeer timing push. But the fights afterwards, although it looks to be a great fight from Mitoe, Kaiser is just surviving Spain's shipments, and when it got to the 15-minute mark, Mitoe was out of steam. He had no more useful shipments to send, but Kaiser's eco was just powering on. He just kept on making those units, and that final fight was more of a formality than anything. Kaiser just closing that game off in a very assured manner there. So you see how Spain's eco was near flatline during the time that Russia was in Spain's base, putting on that pressure, but afterwards, all the villagers being produced from Kaiser. Yeah, the Russians just having that better eco as the game moved on. I think quite a lot of villagers from Mitoe went down at multiple points during these big fights. There was a big fight where Mitoe used a few villas to tank, but tanking villagers with no great coats, you could get an extra 2 or 3 villagers worth if you just get that 75 food tech. Only a minor point there, I think, from Mitoe, because he needed to spend those resources onto dogs, lancers, anything he gets hands on. Yeah, tough game there for Mitoe. That's tough facing Russia on a no TP map, and we move on to the next game. The second last night donating $20. Thank you, Mr. Goodhouse. Thanks, Mr. Goodhouse, indeed. Certainly a very noble cause we're raising money for today. It is quite nice to be able to give back something. I mean, usually I could say I'm giving back to the community, which is you guys of casting for ESOC, but actually, in the grand scheme of things, it's even nicer to give back to the people helping make this game, and that was Cedric Goodhouse. So, yeah, here, agree with that one there. Right, let's move on to the next game of Kaiserklein versus Mitoe in the round of 8. Can't have people peeking at my recorded game log. Let's load up the next recorded game, and this is going to be game number 3 between Kaiserklein and Mitoe. Classic TE. I don't know what has appeared up on the left-hand side. That is unexpected, but has certainly made me giggle a little bit. But we'll have to find out how that has happened. That's quite funny. Hopefully, so we have to appreciate the players who are donating their time and playing in this charity event are scheduling their games over a very busy period of the year. That is the Christmas holidays, and so playing from recorded games is probably the optimal thing for both us as admins and casters and the players for convenience. It would be nice to see if we can get the semi-finals and the finals live casted as well, so we get to see the best of both worlds of recorded games now function as they should, thanks to AZ's wonderful UI modifications and just replay playability functions, and maybe soon get to see some live action as well. And that'll be just some great steps that the ESOC community are taking to provide high-level content for all you fans of Age of Empires, whether you're Age of Empire 3 hardcore fans or maybe new to the series on the release of Definitive Edition. And we take our steps to making this show as best as we can. Tongue twister. Game number 3 matchup: Kaiserklein playing as the Germans, Mitoe picking as the French, and Kaiserklein could play French again. There is no rule to say that you have to change Civ when you win or play a new Civ, but Kaiserklein's favourite Civ in the entirety of the game in this patch, ESOC patch, the original base game patch, he's always been a fan of Germany, and his German gameplay is just on another level. It is so enjoyable to watch Kaiser play Germany, and I'm sure Kaiser will give us a very good lesson on how the top level players play Germany. Mitoe playing French though, Mitoe's very good with the kind of that core French, British, European civilizations. They play very similar. Also plays a bit of Germany, not to the high level as Kaiser, but I'm sure these two players have played over 100 German mirrors. Maybe Mitoe didn't fancy a German mirror here and happy to go for France. I think in the latest patch, I think France may have a slight edge over Germany, at least in the earlier portion of the game. As the game goes on, maybe the balance tilts in favour of Germany due to the German having stronger Uhlans, 190 HP for their base, and then upgrades based on that. But it'd be interesting to see how they play this in Age 2, because the dynamic between the Hussars and Uhlan have changed due to that bonus applied to the German cavalry of reverting them to the base stats originally put in the old Age of Empires 3 base game. Just hit view lock there, pardon me. Kaiserklein is trying his best to age up, but he's only got 2 Garger goats remaining. These goats they were a pain in the old game, and they're certainly a pain now in this new game. These goats, apparently these 2 goats are in the same herd. You wouldn't think it. They just don't behave like normal animals. They're so hard to control. But luckily Kaiserklein has just got enough food in his base to age up to the next stage, and he's going to be doing so now. Already has the. Does he have hunting dogs? No, I don't think he has hunting dogs. I think he just dropped the market and then bought the wood for the house. So that now he does have an early access to the market in transition. Kaiserklein, such a sad German map, but it was Kaiser who did pick the map. No, it was Kaiser who did pick the civilization first. Says he just didn't want to face French again. Mitoe saying you'll win in the end anyway. Maybe he's down in confidence. Even to be fair, even if he had the biggest confidence in the world, taking on Kaiserklein is always a tough challenge. Mitoe saying his CDB had been idle for 40 seconds. Oh no, Mitoe. He's got one idle right here in the middle of his town, enjoying the view on this sunny afternoon in the Russian Kamchatka area, East Russia. Got his goats on the market, enjoying the views on the silver mine. Is now getting back to hunt to Gary on the tree, getting the wood required for a trading post to go down. Trading post has been thrown down. Will he get that pass of experience points? I think he will. It's going to be close though, but I think Mitoe's got there just in time. Let's have a look at Mitoe's deck. Very standard deck. Does have Wilderness Warfare for skirmisher upgrades as well as ranged infantry combat. So skirmisher having 2 cards here. Cavalry, the classic French having all the 3 cavalry cards there. I don't think there's anything too abnormal about the French player's deck. I think it's worth noticing having 1,000 food instead of the 10 Jaegers. Jaegers, all Black Riders, still have their place in a French versus German matchup, I would say. Mitoe was going to crack shot one of these macaques, but then thought better of it, considering he has Freitag in his support. But that is a very minor point. 4 CDBs incoming from Mitoe. In-base racks, 2 houses on the 400. And he's getting the steel traps now, and already getting placer mines in transition. Let's have a look and see what Kaiserklein is up to. Kaiserklein sending 3 settler wagons. 2 Uhlans will come out from that shipment as well. In-base stable. Already training 1 Uhlan. A couple of these settler wagons tripping over each other over the tree line, realising actually he wants to go into the coin. Maybe Kaiser got his rally a bit off for the settler wagons, but I still think Kaiser could have the, his eco rally point where he wanted it. I think he changed from the food to the coin, but set his military gather point forward. So as soon as those Uhlans spawn from that shipment, they're already charging across the field, and he's already seen Mitoe working on the treasure. I don't think he's going to deny Mitoe this treasure, but he's going to pick off the Explorer, and that's more experience points for Germany, exactly what they need. He's actually now changed his attack onto Macaque, and yeah, picking them both off. Extra 48 experience points, and that's another shipment available for Kaiserklein. 5 Uhlans charging across the eastern flank. 5 musketeers going for a walk. Has Mitoe even scouted out Kaiser's base? You've got no vision of the stable play from Kaiser. You can pretty much guess or assume that Germany is going to go for cavalry here, but pikeman is really what Mitoe needs. Oh, that's an early 3 Hushman. That's a nice catch. That's a really nice catch. Couple pikemen there. Hussars engaging. Musketeers walking from the top side. I'm glad he pulled those musketeers back from the middle of the map. Otherwise, they would have missed this engagement. And Mitoe should rub his hands, thinking, nice, that's a good engagement for me. Again, picking up the German Explorer, 45 XP for Mitoe. Still got the snare on the Uhlans, and you know, this opening raid from Kaiser has not gone the way he'd hoped. Dropping 1 Uhlan back, snaring the Hussar, keeping his army pinned down, and 3 Uhlans are managing to escape here from Kaiserklein. That was 4 CDB into 3 Huss, so it's not like Mitoe went for the early 3 Hussar, skipping his eco. He just sent the Hussars instead of the wood. Now sending 700 coin for a age but decent time, but he's already got a lot of coin at this point. 500 coin. Needs to be transitioned all the CDB onto food at this point and eating up the sheep. CDB does have his greatcoats. 2 Uhlans raiding from the top side. He's getting his CDB in the town centre. I suppose with greatcoats though, you could try and punch these guys down a little bit, but oh, there's 1 CDB pinned down by the caribou. How dare the caribou work for the German Empire here? So that's 1 dead CDB, and 2 Uhlan raids has gone rather well for Kaiserklein. And more Uhlan's going to walk into the base and decides to back out of that. Don't want to risk a Minutemen pop, pikemen, Hussars snaring. Musketeers going across the base, and yeah, this is what I was saying. You know, Musketeers pushing across the base. I don't feel like this, the play. I feel like the standard play is like a 10 Musketeer semi-FF, but you use your Musketeers as a defensive force to dissuade German from sending cavalry into your base. But 10 Musketeers actually going to get cleaned up very quickly here from the Minutemen. There's 2 Uhlans coming out from Kaiser, but I don't see any. Kaiser just sent Silversmith. What? I thought about this card as Germany. So in DE, Silversmith gives you extra gathering on the coin mine by 20%, but also prolongs the life of the coin mines. So these mines will provide more coin yield than it actually says they do. But even still, not even needing a Cav HP or a Cav attack card there, snaring those 10 Musketeers out of position. Mitoe's advanced force getting cleaned up, and Kaiser can just turn his attention and raid Mitoe's base if he feels like that. He's just going to send 2 Uhlans to the top side, pulling back the remaining of his Uhlans. Kaiser's kind of like awkwardly stuck between staying H2 and going to H3 at the moment. That's Silversmith card he sent. It's a nice card in terms of eco, but it has not given Kaiser that tempo he really craves. But those 2 Uhlans going for a raid is just cutting off the escape. Those 3 Hussars are trapped, and that was some good micro there from Kaiser. Did you see how Kaiser had his army into 3 groups, 1 coming from the top, 1 riding along the side, and 1 from the bottom. Mitoe saying it's so bad. I thought that was so good, actually. That was some good micro there from Kaiser. Mitoe up to the next stage first, though, dropping stable into... no, don't uninstall Mitoe. Dropping a stable for Dragoon production. Kaiserklein still ambling his way to the 3rd age, and that is why maybe the classic 3 Settler Wagon, 700 wood into 700 coin is the standard card progression from the Germans. Kaiser, although he's in the score lead, in terms of tempo and momentum, is now on the back foot for being quite late to the 3rd age. Another CDB getting picked off there. Kaiser using his Alt key to check which French villager is low on HP and singling that unlucky villager out for a quick and swift execution there. Halberdiers? Excuse me? Why the Halberdiers out from Mitoe? Halberdier Dragoon? Nah, come on, Mitoe. Nah. Please don't have them in the same control group, though. Is he going to try and pull the Halberdiers across? Well, he needs more Dragoons, so yeah, he's now got a batch of 10 Dragoons, so yeah, run, boys, run! Run! I've never seen Halberdiers run before, but Kaiser's in the next stage. He's just going to be... he's sending Jaegers from the Silversmith upgrade. He's got extra coin from the upgrade from the Silversmith in his deck. 20% coin gather rate and 20% yield. Can afford early Jaegers. Unfortunately for Mitoe, Jaegers just absolutely tear Dragoons and Halberdiers to shreds. They're not even phased by them. This is Kaiserklein's most ideal situation. Maybe Mitoe's thinking that Kaiser's going to send 3 war wagons, train about 3 war wagons with a couple of Halberdiers to protect from Uhlans, but once those Jaegers pop out, depending on if Mitoe can actually retreat from that position quite safely, this might be a really bad time for Mitoe to engage in with slow infantry units. His next batch, 2 skirmishers, 3 goons. There's the 8 skirm here from Mitoe, just a little bit late for this push. Opened up with 5 goons. I suppose this is a very finicky point, but if Mitoe opened up with 8 skirmishers walking across the map and then now sent 5 goons, the goons would still be here, but so would the skirmishers. But in this case, it won't matter. Jaegers are out in the field for Germany. What do you do versus Jaegers? I don't actually know at this point. A couple of Uhlans are out. So they're still colonial. But I'm sure Kaiser's upgrading them to veteran status very soon. He's got enough coin for another mercenary shipment. It's the Black Riders Germany's going for, but yeah, no, in this case, Black Riders will be a good shout. I was about to say the Harquebusiers would be excellent, but actually there's too many Dragoons for the Harks to be a good idea. But they're certainly a very good power shipment later on after the first fight happened. There you go, German Black Riders incoming here for Kaiser. I think Mitoe has seen the Jaegers, and that's why he's pushing back and retreating. He knows he can't take that fight. But what are France's answers to the Jaeger shipment? Well, it's either Cuirassiers or Falconets. And he's sending 2 Falconets, but still going skirm goon. But what counters the Falconets or Cuirassiers? Yep, the Black Riders. So the Black Rider Jaeger shipment, very good synergy between the two. German villagers also having amalgamation, so 1.8 coin per second for the settler wagons, 0.9 coin per second for the villagers. These villagers are so efficient on the coin income at the moment that as the game goes on, Kaiser's eco is really, really strong. So it looks like in terms of, I think that's total population. Let me check. 21 villagers. Yeah, that's 29 total villagers, but not villager population. So Kaiserklein has definitely got more eco at the moment than Mitoe. But I suppose Mitoe's got CPs. It's hard to really tell, but an eco shipment as well as full market tax is very strong here for Kaiserklein. The rest of Mitoe's army is already at home, just chilling, just waiting for Germany to push. But actually, raiding with Dragoons, their initial way of escape blocked off by Jaegers. Will pick up a couple villagers, but cannot lose these Dragoons to Black Riders. And Black Riders move at the same speed as the Dragoons, but the path here home is being blocked off by the German Black Riders. Dragoons may double back onto the Uhlans, but they're trapped by Jaegers and Black Riders. This is not good for Mitoe. Mitoe knows this. He's now snared by the Uhlans. He has to unsnare himself from the Uhlans. He has to get away, but the Jaegers are having a field day, and this is going to be known as the execution in the Teutoburg Forest, unfortunately. All those Dragoons are going down. That is not what you want to see from Mitoe's point of view. And this is a prime example of why, well, it's a nice lesson for maybe newer players that raiding with a full army is always risky. Yeah, and that just got caught and cleaned up. Mitoe shown his position of displeasure. His skirmishers, Dragoons and Falconets are away at home. They couldn't contribute to that fight. And Mitoe was in a position of, you could say he was in the lead. He was up to the third age before. He's got a couple of shipments out. Falconets could do quite well versus the Jaegers. Jaegers have got a lot of HP, but they still died to one volley to Falconets. The Falconets have a ×3 by infantry. But losing those 12 Dragoons early on like that, that's a bit tough. Because I think Kaiserklein can just send 9 Uhlans here as next shipments and right-clicking with Vet Uhlans. That's what I'll do if I was Kaiser. Go for 9 Uhlans, but he's going to go for 8 skirms and maybe just want to further shore up that skirmisher mass and mix in skirmishers and Jaegers, because Yeah, it's quite hard to focus down Jaegers in a skirmisher mass when they all look the bloody same. Look at that. It's quite hard to see, especially en masse, the difference between Jaegers and skirmishers, because they don't really conform to any ordering on how they line up. It's just essentially random, so you don't really know which one's a Jaeger, which one's a skirmisher.
Auftrag bereit.
Bereit. Auftrag.
Auftrag.
Outpost in the middle of the map for line of sight, vision, and a shipment point. That's actually a nice place from Kaiser. Don't often see people dropping down a late outpost in the middle of the map, but another 8 skirmishers, 3 vet Uhlans, 11 Uhlans in total, and 14 skirmishers, still with 12 Jaegers at full HP as well. Kaiser will need to keep his Falconets alive for a long time if he wants to pick these units off. I've actually seen a cheeky artillery foundry thrown down at home as well for Mitoe to see if he can get a launch defense. A couple of halberdiers here feel slightly out of place versus this skirm from Kaiserklein. Falconets unpacked, they haven't got a shot off just yet. I think they're moving position, and yes, 1 Jaeger picked off from 1 shot, and that's what Mitoe needs to do. He needs to micro his Falcons onto the Jaegers, not the skirmishers, for maximum effect from the Falconets. Raid left side, 2 Uhlans being annoying onto the CDB. That's actually a really nice raid. You can see how Kaiserklein was pushing him with his army, and if the fight was to happen, this side raid would be even more effective. Mitoe would be very difficult to commit forces to help that raid, and may have to take the losses while he fights that main fight. But because the army wasn't fighting, I think Kaiserklein decided to pull back his Uhlans, keep them alive. He's got them resting on the far west side of the map and just ready to launch another raid on these unsuspecting villagers. Yep, a house is nice line of sight, but actually line of sight only comes to here, and that might not be enough time for Mitoe to react. Oh, I like this play. He's committing a couple of halberdiers onto the French villagers, and these are exactly what you want to defend from an Uhlan play. So some nice plays coming up from both players here in the third game, and 5 Falconets. It's not a trivial thing for Germany to deal with. Actually, the Dragoons are going forward. They're chasing down 3 settler wagons coming up the outpost, but the Falconets were a little bit exposed there, but they're being pulled back by the pull trick. They're just going to unpack and just rip everything apart here. The chokes should actually work to Mitoe's favour here, fighting in this environment. Kaiserklein feels like he wants to wait for Mitoe to come from a different angle or try and raid, but he's got to go in. He sees the Dragoon count. Oh, is that 9 Uhlans coming out from the tower at the right exact time? This is good timing for Kaiserklein. Yeah, he just sent that 9 Uhlan shipment. He's just committed, right-clicking everything. There's only 3 Falconets remaining, 1 Falconet remaining. Okay, 1 Falconet remaining at the moment. Still picking up great volleys there. Picking up skirmish, Jaeger, 2 skirmishers, but there's just too many veteran Uhlans. Still at 10 alive. Black Riders in the background now. They have done their work. And they're only here to protect if a batch of Cuirassiers coming from the side. But Skirm Goon versus Skirm Uhlan. The Uhlans are going down, but there's still too many Jaegers to deal with here. 7 Jaegers in Kaiserklein, and Mitoe's forces are whittled down to just the 5 Dragoons and the 6 skirmishers in total. 1 skirmisher at home. Shipments available. Well, just upgrades and maybe 1k coin, but Mitoe's actually got near enough 1k coin. Yeah, this is a point where you could have sent Jaegers, but you've already spent a lot of coin in artillery. But now sending cav combat on a very small force. But I suppose you have to send it at some point, otherwise, if Germany gets a squeeze in cav combat, well, that's very tough to counter. I was surprised by it. I thought French would have had a slightly better fight there, especially with the enclosed environment that France was fighting in. But it wasn't that the Falconets on the back line, skirms, and then anti-cav at the front. It was a bit of everything was a bit of a mix, and I think a couple of the Falconets were on the right-hand side, closer to the cavalry. So a bit unfortunate. Nice raid topside. Outpost has been thrown out by Mitoe, so we'll keep the CDB alive somewhat. But even if they all garrison in, that's just a nice amount of eco to idle. Yeah, you see Mitoe, he doesn't want to sit his CDB in, he wants to be out there fighting, because outposts don't get stronger with those garrisoned inside. And now the German army is committing themselves to that position, because it's either Mitoe saying, right, you either fight my army, or you're going to lose your CDB. Mitoe, well, he wants to save them, but I don't think he can. Mitoe wants him to say LMAO. I don't think I'd be laughing in this position. I'd be, it's nearly that point of GG. Jaeger skirmishes on CDB. Ulan's on top of them as well. CDBs, they do have blunderbuss and great coats, but versus veteran units and a couple of black riders, war wagons, I just don't think it's enough. Oh, big Crassier pop from the side, but there's about 5 anti-cav here. Oh, that could have been actually a nice catch, but Mitoe has already lost a lot of eco behind this. I'm sure Kaiser's follow-up is just lots and lots of Ulans at this point. Sent war wagons. I'm expecting 8 Ulans being sent now for Kaiser, or maybe Camp Combat, so you've got 6 war wagons in queue. Regardless, recorded games finished. The GGs have been exchanged, and Kaiserklein defeating Mitoe 3-0 in the round of 8. Kaiserklein to be looking in fantastic form once again, and that last game was actually a really enjoyable game. Lots of great things from both players. Mitoe did get caught out by some early Dragoons, and his early push out of Musketeers was slightly questionable, but actually managed to rally himself into a great position. I love the transition into Falconets to deal with the Jaegers and Skirmass that Kaiserklein had invested into, and that fight could have gone disastrously for Kaiser if Lady Luck was on Mitoe's side there. So there was never a point in the game that Mitoe was out of the game. There was options for him to come back into the game, but I think Kaiser just did enough to close out the game and will take the 3-0 there and move on to the semi-finals. Let's look onto the timeline. Looking at the population, this is eco and military. Don't look at that. Look at that military population. Unfortunately, where's that point where? Yeah, this is the point where Mitoe lost those 12 Dragoons. They didn't go down for nothing. He did trade them off with Ulans, but 2 population Ulans, which only cost 150 res versus 180 res Dragoons, and losing a lot more of them. That was not an ideal trade. Unfortunate with that. I think Mitoe may have right-clicked. I think what Mitoe might have done, he might have right-clicked the minimap, but missed the minimap and right-clicked a piece of ground near where he stood. So I think Mitoe issued the command go home, but actually the command he issued was move 5 foot to your left and stay there. So that's unfortunate. That's happened to me many a time, and it's so frustrating when that happens. That big fight with the Falconets inflating its military population quite a lot, but Kaiser just having that a little bit more, and I think that mass in the end just helped Kaiserklein cross that line. There was enough Ulans at the end of the fight chomping through the skirmishers, and then Kaiser was able to remass with that really decent eco behind. I don't think Mitoe lost too many villagers in the second age. A little bit of idle time in the TC, but yeah, 1 villager went down while 1 being trained. So it looks to be a bit of idle time, but I think only a couple, 1 or 2 went down. So yeah, some good raiding there from Kaiserklein, but did lose quite a few Ulans as well. There was a good catch of Kaiser's Ulans early on, and that put Mitoe in a good position. But I didn't agree with the Musketeers moving forward, and yeah. But all in all, that was a really exciting game for game number 3. If that was game number 1, I think Mitoe would have had the confidence to go on and take a couple games off Kaiser there. But unfortunately, Mitoe is saving the best till last in this series. Right, GG.